It's Thursday, June 11th, 2015. I'm Rim.
I am a Sky.
And this is an episode of Geeknights. Tonight, we're going to talk about luggage. Literally the most exciting topic we could come up with tonight.
Let's do this.
So I was going to talk about my blisters as like the opening bit
No
today.
one wants to hear about your medical problems. It's disgusting.
Yeah, the saddest part about the blisters is they were bad enough
And
to
now
where I
you're
had to-
talking. You're gonna talk about them, but now you are actually talking about
So
them.
when I was a
If
kid,
you're not actually gonna talk about them, pass by it.
so when you were a kid, I won't talk about the blisters anymore, but when you were a kid and you like cut yourself or something, your mom just had like Bactine or peroxide or
Use
alcohol.
Neosporin.
Yeah, but what about you don't use Neosporin for the clean and disinfect phase of an injury.
I usually just had a Band-Aid, squirted Neosporin on it, and put it right on there.
Didn't even like wash the wound,
Maybe with some water.
not some like Bactine or something.
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, way back when I cut the tip of my finger off and had to get it reattached, I had, that sad old story where the hospital sucked and wouldn't treat me, and after 4
Yeah,
hours
there's an
I left.
episode of Geeknights with that story, so we don't need to tell that
Yeah.
again either.
So the next day when I went into a clinic and I was like, yeah, I cut my fucking finger off, and the hospital wouldn't help me, and the guy was like, okay, well, I'll attach it. He like fixed it. But first he's like, that shit's probably infected as fuck. So he took my hand and he put my finger like just totally in
He
this
said,
big
this is gonna hurt like a motherfucker.
big bowl of iodine.
Yep.
And he was like, just keep it in there. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. So when I injured myself in the way I won't discuss any further, I went to clean out my wounds. And because I don't have a mom who lives with me, I literally didn't own anything I could disinfect this wound with.
Nobody was there to kiss your boo-boo.
Exactly. So I ordered on Amazon a giant jug of betadine for like $5.
You can just buy it at the drugstore around the corner.
There's no drugstore around the corner.
Oh, I live somewhere with a drugstore around the corner.
And even then, actually, the Dwayne Reed by my office does not carry betadine or anything good. They carry just iodine, which isn't really the greatest thing to use. They carry peroxide, which is contraindicated. You shouldn't use it.
That's not what the internet says.
You should not use peroxide on wounds. That is garbage advice from whoever told you to use it. We figured out like 15 or 20 years ago that peroxide does more harm than good.
Okay.
Yeah, like for real.
Mhm.
Don't use peroxide.
Okay.
Why did you think you could use peroxide? Who told you that?
The whole internet.
Well, they're wrong.
Okay.
So yeah, I got my betadine. And I forgot what my other opening bit was. I was going to talk about something else too. I
Okay,
completely forgot.
that's the whole story. You bought betadine.
I bought betadine.
Great,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Right. So
If I cut myself in your house,
when we
I can splash betadine in your face.
relaunched Geeknights on iTunes after we were delisted for a little while because of like our feed had some issues we had to fix. Once it got back up, I noticed that there's a bunch of reviews of Geeknights from like 2005, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like 5 stars, and most of the reviews, there's a lot of them, were like, yeah, this is a great show. A lot of those people are still listeners, or at least are still like hanging out in the forum, even if they don't listen anymore.
What the fuck?
But there was a whole bunch of negative reviews that all came in around the same time. And they all were from different usernames, but they all complained about the same 3 things in a different order.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started Googling around for like reviews of Geeknights. And there was an era of a few months where a ton of people who may or may not have all been the same person were giving Geeknights negative reviews and writing these really long rants about how shitty we are. Anywhere they could do this.
We finally got a hater? All right.
I think it's one hater. I couldn't tell, but it was weird because what they complained about was these guys act like they know about everything, but they don't.
We don't.
Yeah.
We just read
We
a
don't
lot
even-
of we just read a lot of internet. Therefore, we
Yep.
can say things that we don't know anything about because we read Wikipedia.
We fucking swear. They were really mad that we swear on the show.
We're
They're
from
like-
New York. Continue.
But they were like really
we live
like,
in fucking New York City.
multiple of these fucking reviews had paragraphs dedicated to, I wish they wouldn't use such like vile language. It's horrible. Like I can't listen because of this.
Don't move to New York. Continue.
And 3, they were mad that we interrupt each other and argue.
That's what the show's about. Okay.
But they all complained in such a way. I'm pretty sure one motherfucker got mad at us for something back in 2006 and spent like a month writing these reviews all over the internet, trying desperately to drown out our 5 stars down to the
Is this an 06? I thought it was a recent hater.
No, this is back in 06.
Oh, come on, I need a hater now. Someone to, egg on and make their life miserable.
No one hates us anymore. The only people who hate us now
God damn
are
it.
that guys who stumble on our That Guy panel.
Yeah, come on, that guy. Bring it. I'll take you on.
The guy who was mad that we spoiled Bunny Drop in our anime panel.
I saved you, bro. You
Yeah.
should thank me.
Oh, and the people who remember our biggest public failure.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's bring the hate. I love the fact
I agree. I'm with you. Fuck those guys who did that. That was awful.
on a recent episode, like a thing I put up on YouTube, there's a comment and it referenced that obliquely, and I was proud enough to message the guy like, dude, good slam. Good slam, dude. That was a good one. So yeah, it's Thursday. It's the lounge. We can talk about whatever.
It's your mom.
My mom would hang out in a lounge.
So there's a big fiasco going down on Reddit. So much a fiasco that even my coworkers were talking about it on Slack today.
It's amazing.
In the random channel.
Because normal people who aren't internet at all will never know this happened.
No.
Or care. Smart people would see it as, oh, wow, Reddit did a smart thing. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, this became the biggest internet shitstorm because of that guy.
Right. Well, okay. So here's what's going down. So Reddit is a website where you post links or just write text and then upvote and downvote things, but things sort of get automatically lower scores as time goes on. So newer things. So in order for something to be highly ranked and very prominent on the site, it has to be new and hot with lots of upvotes. Also, Reddit does the interesting thing of this subreddits. So you can actually go to Reddit, and if you make an account or go to the homepage without being logged in, or fresh new account, you only see certain things. There's actually way more stuff that's completely hidden from you, and you might not even know about, and I didn't even know about until using Reddit for a while.
I mean, that's the only good part of Reddit, like the Rangers subreddit.
Right, is every single post is actually under a subreddit, which is basically a forum that a human being that's not a Reddit employee created and curates. So you can go to Reddit and be like, make new subreddit, Geeknights haters. Geeknights exists because I made it, but Geeknights haters doesn't. So you can make that. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. You could make that.
I didn't know we had a Geeknights Reddit. I should go post some stuff in it.
You can go make a Geeknights haters subreddit, and then people could subscribe to it, in which case any posts in it would show up on their Reddit homepages when they're logged in and whatnot, right? So there's subreddits for every fucking thing, no matter how specific your interest is, right? There's one for bicycling that I subscribe to. There's one specific to New York City bicycling. It's NYC Bike. It's only things about New York City bicycling. Usually, cops are giving out tickets at this intersection today, construction on this bridge. How do I get to this place?
Like really useful stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Reddit, has been very, very permissive in what kinds of content it allows.
I mean, like they let the red pill exist, which is literally just like, how do we remove women from society?
Right. It used to be that, the only rule was like no child porn or whatever, right? But there's subreddits out there where there's like horrible, horrible stuff. What was it? Space something?
Space dicks?
Yeah. And, like rotten.com times a million is out there somewhere, right? There's porn, there's everything, right? Anything you could imagine is there, but also perfectly normal stuff like NYC Bike, right? It's just about biking in New York City. If you subscribe to only subreddits such as New York City Bike or your favorite sports team or your favorite band or your favorite video game, right? Then you're only going to see stuff about that, and you're not going to see the general Reddit community, and that is the right way to use Reddit, right? But in the general Reddit community, there's mad dramas because the new CEO of Reddit, and there's some new policies, which is they are going to crack down not on content that is offensive, but against any communities that are actually harassing and attacking people, right? So they found a few subreddits and a few users that were literally harassing, and, doing direct, threats and attacks against people. And they destroyed those subreddits, and they hell banned, which is you're banned but you don't know
so,
it.
So there's a side.
To some really bad users.
Someone made a Wikipedia article on Hellband, and then the Reddit Butthurt Brigade went and edited the article to try to make it seem like there are legal implications that doing that kind of shadow ban is actually illegal and a violation of some federal law.
It's Reddit's website.
Yeah,
they own the website. They can do whatever the fuck they want on their own website.
I went actually for the first time in years. I edited Wikipedia and I just deleted all that shit. I made a comment like these shit posters are shitting all over Wikipedia, and it looks like it's still good. So anyway.
Okay. Anyway, so this created a shitstorm amongst the shitheads, the people who are, upset, and they're like,
it's as though a million shitheads cried out in agony. And
you
then
already
were suddenly
tweeted that.
silenced.
You can't say it again.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Because not everyone follows me on Twitter.
You come up with a joke, you tweet it, you then can't say the joke out loud.
I don't think you all subscribe to me on Twitter. You should. At Shazar, like Cliff Shazar.
Not that joke is bad.
From Trigun.
But I mean, if I go and make a tweet that's like chickens cross the road, how to get to the other side, and then later on I go, hey, Rim, why did chicken cross the road? It's like...
That'd be a good idea. I don't follow you on Twitter.
You don't have to.
At Shazar, you should totally follow me.
You should follow me and unfollow Rim. Because he's just tweeting stupid jokes that he already said, and also he gets
tweeted the joke.
He gets into really long conversations with people that don't belong on Twitter.
You
and
won't see that.
That's gonna fill your tweet feed up like ding 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 ding.
You will not
I
see
am
that.
A well-behaved Twitter zen.
You will only see that if you subscribe to both me and the person I'm arguing with, which is usually Gerald. We don't argue though lately. It's all just like, hey, I'm right. Yeah, you are right.
Rim tweets too much. Anyway,
I tweet a lot. I've only tweeted 30,000 times.
That's too many times. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh, I got like a lot of followers. Anyway.
Big shitstorm going on the Reddit. These people clearly have not read the XKCD comic that tells you that freedom of speech only means something if the government is going to arrest you for saying something. Right? Reddit can do whatever the fuck they want on their website, and you can't do a goddamn thing about it because it's not your website.
What's hilarious, but also sad, is that the shitheads are such a quantity of people that their mass exodus from Reddit actually took down like at least 2 Reddit clone sites with the traffic. There are that many of these people.
Yep, probably.
I don't know what the projected future of shitheadery is at this point, because as much as I've always liked to believe that these people are a vocal minority, the sheer number and quantity of them.
They're a minority, but they are still a high quantity. And also the quantity of them on the internet is much higher than their proportional number in general society.
So you say that, but I have 2 pieces of information that I don't know if they count it or not. One, the more local the news website is, the worse that becomes.
That's true.
You look at like the newspaper.
People who are shitty have small worlds and small world outlooks.
But is every small world filled with enough of these people to where they're actually a big percentage of society?
Well, no, because in that small world, there are people with large world outlooks, right? Their personal world is large, even though they like, for example, I live in a particular area of Astoria, right? My apartment building could be seen as a small world. But I have my life, my world, the world of me is large. It is internet large. It is PAX, it's big. It's
here's
much
the problem.
more global. But
if
let's say there was an old lady living in my apartment building, and she is living in this same small world that I am also a part of, but her world outlook is small. The apartment building is like the thing she is focusing on in her mind. She's only seeing a very small part of the world. She doesn't have a global thought or a global mind. And that is why such a person who doesn't exist, my apartment building does not really have old people in it, but, right?
It's got
that
you.
person would be a shitty person, right? So a kind of person, so there's some small town. Are all the people living in that small town shitty? No, there's a lot of people living in the small town who are just fine people. But someone who is in that small town and cares about that small town to where that's the thing that they're focusing on, that's the thing that they think about that occupies their mind, is a small-minded person who is a shithead.
So here's my problem.
And that's the person who's going to go to the small town newspaper website.
If you live in a small world, then if you go to any small media, you encounter this stuff all the time. But if you live a global life, this stuff is everywhere, and you encounter it across all those places regardless. No matter what level you live at, the percentage of those people seems to be constant. So the other example of this is another big internet thing that was happening a couple days ago that sort of culminated. There's a town of Lancaster.
In Pennsylvania where ZenkaCon is?
Nope, a different Lancaster.
So not the Amish Lancaster.
So, side note, you can tell when a website, especially a news site, is a small world when it doesn't say what state something's in or assumes that you know the name of a town. So I'm looking at the website. There's no way to know this is from New York unless you happen to notice the tiny buffalo.com in the upper left.
There could be another Buffalo, but yeah, if it's buffalo.com, I'm assuming
Buffalo,
it's Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo.
You don't know how many buffaloes are in that sentence.
I think 9. Not sure, though. I think it's 9.
Anyway.
I'll look it up later.
And you don't know where to pause and where to inflect either.
You can just do it randomly. Inflection has no bearing on meaning in English, except for maybe turning something into a question.
There's commas in that sentence, though.
Commas can be omitted in almost all cases, except the Oxford comma, which must never be omitted. Anyway, so this town, Lancaster, had a problem. They have like a middle school team called the Redskins.
Yeah, they should change that.
And there's actually a lot of like...
surprised it wasn't changed already. Also,
yeah, there's a lot of...
I also want to point out, how come, these Redskins teams are getting all this pressure? Shouldn't the Cleveland Indians be the number one fucking target?
Yes, the Cleveland Indians mascot.
they're a target, but they should be number fucking one.
Well, you know what it is? Redskins as a name is more offensive than their logo.
Than Indians?
The Cleveland Indians at least you could argue, is in the vernacular as a generic word.
Yeah,
but the Cleveland Indians mascot? Fuck no.
Well, no one cares about Chicago Blackhawks, right?
People do, but not as much, and I figured out why. I was looking into that a lot, actually.
All right.
So it seems like, one, it's named after a World War II regiment.
Oh.
So there's at least a historical reason. Now, that regiment was named after the tribe.
Well, Blackhawk, I don't think is an insult itself, right?
It's a little appropriative, like you can't deny.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Unlike the Redskins, which is just like, why don't I have the like Utah black faces?
So,
Seriously.
so is Yankees.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's okay because that's punching up, not punching down.
What if it was Yankees and the team was in the South? The Atlanta Yankees. That would be a problem.
They can punch up all they want.
Okay.
So anyway, but with the Blackhawks too, at least their logo is just like 2 tomahawks. It's not just an offensive...
It's the dude's head, but he's sort of normal looking.
Yeah,
dude.
though they had a mascot called Thomas Hawk. But
he's gone now.
They have minimized his involvement. So while their name is still problematic, they're at least like they've addressed it to a degree to where it's not like the Redskins who can go fuck themselves.
Right.
So this team, there are a lot of Native Americans who live in that part of New York.
Yeah. No, tons of them.
And all the other schools in the area don't want to play games with this team because of their offensive name.
Good job, other schools.
And
I applaud you.
And a lot of the kids in the school didn't want to have an offensive team name, so they wouldn't join the team.
Good job, middle school kids, for being so educated despite living in a small town.
So an awesome girl came up with a new logo and a new mascot, the Lancaster Legends, and it's this awesome knight guy with a giant ass sword.
I approve of knights with giant ass swords.
So Carissa Godziak made this logo. The school loved it. The kids loved it.
Wait, she drew it with her art skills?
I think so.
It's getting even better.
So
also knights with big ass swords.
The adults, the parents in town.
Parents or other parents?
Other
or
parents.
All the parents?
Shithead parents. They had the town meeting where they voted to change this name. Like the school board.
Why did they need a town meeting? Just fucking do it.
Might have been a school board. I don't know.
Can't the principal of the school just be like, done?
Probably not. I don't know. It's small town crap. How would I don't know
Why
anything.
Does the school board have to decide
Scott,
this?
we tried to get involved in Beacon politics and just couldn't figure out how.
Go to town council during the day when old people are there.
Yeah. So, basically, they had this public meeting and they voted, I think it was the school board or whatever, to change the name. And she gave a little speech about why it's important to change and how her logo was great.
Nice speech.
The other parents brought out the Heil Hitlers and it descended into chaos.
The Heil Hitlers
yes.
they brought out?
Yes.
What the fuck? Well, of course, in a small town like that, there's someone with a small mind.
They are
Someone with a small enough mind to go to the school board meeting of Lancaster, New York.
They turned their they stood
When
up.
they're an adult, and they took time out of their day to go to the school board meeting of Lancaster, New York. That is a small person.
So a bunch of the parents stood up, or just like adults who live in the town.
Yeah,
stood
adults
up,
living in town aren't even involved in the school.
stood up,
Care about what the
while
mascot.
this little girl is giving her speech
They
and
c-
turned their back on her like those cops in New
They
York.
care about the mascot of a middle school in this tiny ass town. That's important enough to them to take time out of their day to go to a meeting and make a statement. That is a sad individual.
So read this article.
I mean, even let's say in New York, right, the middle school near me, right, had an awesome knight as their mascot,
Yep.
and they wanted to change it to a clown, which is not as cool as a knight, and I was upset. Why? First of all, wait. Why am I upset about what fuck? I don't even know
Okay,
the
so
mascot of the middle
so no,
school
you
near
to
me.
think like a shithead, you have to like put yourself.
First, I have to know about this.
So you gotta put
So
yourself
I
in
don't
the
even
mind.
know the names. I don't even know where the local middle school is.
So Scott, imagine you lived in the same town your whole life and you went to this middle school and now you're 40. You have fond memories of playing for this middle school team with this name.
So nothing has happened in my life that's overshadowed those memories since middle school. I
you're
don't even remember my middle school mascot.
You're like the
Madison,
dad in Napoleon
I remember it was
Dynamite.
Madison Middle School. Was it Panthers? Maybe.
Mine
I
was
think it was a cat of some kind.
Mine was the middle school north. I want to say the
the
Knights.
high school was the Eagles.
Mine was the Knights or something. In elementary school, it was the Falcons.
In elementary school, it wasn't anything.
In high school, it was also the Falcons, which I always thought was kind of a weird coincidence.
No, in high school it was Eagles.
Yeah, we were the Falcons.
Okay.
The Fighting Falcons, I think. Maybe just the Falcons. I don't
But
know.
I think it was a cat in middle school.
Our football team sucked. The logo was really only for the marching band anyway.
Some kind of mean cat. Rawr.
But yeah, the Reddit shithead level happened in the exact same manner in this little town when they changed the logo of a middle school sports team.
Well, someone cares about that subreddit that much, right?
Yup.
That
The Lancaster subreddits
they
are like
care about
societies.
that middle school mascot that much. They care about this podcast that much.
So in a more positive
To post
news,
a review on iTunes.
Pizza Hut, which when I was a young kid, I enjoyed for some reason.
I enjoyed Pizza Hut because number one, they had one of those machines in the lobby where you had like 6 Sega Genesis games in it. And
Whoa, ours had the afterburner that cost $1 and moved.
right, you could pay a quarter and pick one of the games.
It also had
I usually
Operation
picked-
Wolf.
I usually picked Altered Beast, Rise from Your Grave.
Nah, I just played Operation Wolf with 4 quarters.
Also, you sat down to get pizza. You get the garlic breads and whatnot, right? And
Yup.
you know the food came quick.
Also, like,
It was a
we're
good
spoiled.
Place, it was a good place to eat out when you're a little kid and you can't sit still in a nice restaurant.
Also, we're spoiled. We live in New York now, and also, like, pizza became better when we were young, like in the 80s.
in Connecticut, I mean, what pizza was I gonna get besides Mario the Baker? There was one pizza place in that town, and there still is, and that's it.
In the 80s, if you wanted pizza, unless you were lucky and lived next to like a for real Italian restaurant that would actually serve pizza for real, Pizza Hut was probably the best you were gonna get. I
Right.
mean, it was downhill from there. It was Domino's,
Yep.
Little
So-
Caesars,
But Pizza Hut, you get a cool toy.
Hungry Howie's.
Good little menu to use your crayons on.
Yup. So, for the first time in decades, there's good. Pizza Hut did something smart. They now unveiled a pizza that is a stuffed crust, and the crust is stuffed with hot dogs.
Wait. So there's a big ring of hot dog around the edge of the pizza, covered in bread.
Yes,
So it's basically you can just peel that off, and it's just hot dog.
yes,
And then in between, inside the ring is pizza.
yes.
So first of all, that's genius because all those people who are dumbasses and don't eat the crust, now you're gonna eat that crust. But
Yeah.
the problem is, now I can only eat like one slice because I eat the slice, I eat the hot dog. That's enough.
So Scott, think back to an earlier time.
Otherwise, I'd eat like 2 slices. But
Think
that
back,
hot dog,
Scott. Remember when you were 14?
I could probably eat 3 slices and 3 hot dogs. Yeah.
When I was 14, I don't know if I ever told this anecdote on Geeknights.
And this is one
I
of those crazy.
literally, for real, like I am not joking, was kicked out of a Pizza Hut for taking advantage of their all-you-can-eat buffet lunch.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Like that story is
The
self-descriptive.
thing is, usually these
They asked
crazy,
me to leave.
Usually these crazy food combination things that restaurants are coming up with are just disgusting. Like, the double down where you replace the bread with fried chicken and then you put this right.
Even on the higher end, like the artisanal stuff, the ramen burger, pretty nasty.
Yeah, I'm
Not gonna
not
lie.
into the ramen burger.
I tried it, not great.
But this, it's like, well, there's nothing wrong with this.
Because here's the problem.
I mean, it's a little out there, but
There's-
it's not disgusting in any way. It's like, oh, what is it? It's a hot dog wrapped in bread next to a pizza.
the
It's like,
people
oh,
who make those kinds of
okay.
like crazy food,
you put sausage on pizza anyway. It's a hot dog. It's not too far
like
off.
the double down is you're taking some pretty shitty food and just making it worse for you.
Yeah.
Like just taking it down into the gutter. Like you're doing something stupid. Like I'm going to take a bacon, I'm going to wrap it in turkey, I'm going to wrap that in more bacon.
What did Dunkin' Donuts do? They had the 2 waffles with the breakfast sandwich
Yeah,
in
like
between.
that's shit.
Yeah.
But on the upper end, you've got the artisanal thing like the ramen burger. Where they're like, we're going to take a good food and try to make like a hipster artisanal experience out of it. And usually it's just not well put together.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a lateral move. They're taking 2 foods that are at an equivalent level and combining them.
I mean, and the thing is just the fact that putting the hot dog in the crust, it's like that's what you do with a hot dog. You put it in a bun. It's
Yeah.
just a crusty bun, which is
I've
bread.
known kids who just eat a sliced up hot dog and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a hot dog in a bun. I mean, this is just great.
Of course, the problem
I
is
might actually go to a Pizza Hut and order one of these.
the pizza they show
if
here.
I'm desperate in a suburb.
Here's the problem.
If I'm desperate in a suburb.
The pizza they showed here is a meat lover's pizza.
Go full power. Full power. If I'm in a non-New York and I can't get a good pizza and there's a Pizza Hut, I might order that.
Well, after that time we fucked up and tried to go to that Godfather's
Oh, God.
in the gas station.
It was a pizza place in a gas station.
We would have been smart to have just thrown the pizza away directly upon receiving it.
We would have started to drive up, see that it was in a gas station, and then drive away.
Yep, just charge back the
With-
credit card.
Without giving money.
Yeah. So, things of the day. So, this is just like a YouTube show. I'm linking to one episode of it. If you've ever done tech support for anyone ever, you might not be able to finish this video because it might be a little too real.
Too real.
Basically, it's just this video about a guy's at work, and you see his computer, and you hear his voice, and he's on the phone. But it's like sped up, so you get a lot of words in really quick. And he's playing like Wolfenstein, and then like he gets a phone call, and then it cuts to his desktop, and you see this desktop
Covered in icons.
and he's like talking on the phone, and meanwhile he's like drawing squares on the desktop, and he's got like 2 AOL icons like kind of overlapping, and he moves one of them over the other one to make it disappear, and he's just talking, and it gets to a point where he tries to add a row to his Excel spreadsheet, and he can't, so he calls tech support because he's out of rows. And the beautiful part about all this is that the whole time in this discussion, he is clearly in PowerPoint with a table in a slide. And this video is so well
Is
done.
he just trolling the tech support person?
No, this is the story of someone who is that stupid, and you hear him interacting with the rest of the world around him. It's actually really funny, but it's also a little too real. And I guess the reason
Prawn
I like
tonight.
it is that, yeah, these pop-ups keep coming up because it just keeps escalating. He's also playing Minesweeper.
Does he know how to play Minesweeper?
He's playing a map with 667 mines on it, the absolute maximum.
Is he
And
doing a good job?
so far, but this is pretty funny because there's so many little subtle things. Like he's on the tech support call in this, what he thinks is Excel. And the guy's like, hit like Control IR or Alt IR or whatever. Like, does that work? And he does that, but he just overwrites one of his cells and like fucks up the data in what little spreadsheet he has and doesn't notice. And it's real hard to watch this.
All right, so, a lot of people are not exactly conscious about how much energy things take, right? It's like, we can think about things in terms of one context, right? Like, how much electricity does my computer use on my electric bill? Some people know that, but, how much gas does my car use per mile?
Well, like people,
But
like this
how
shit, like people who
many-
complain, like, "Oh, 100-watt light bulbs. I'm mad that these complex fluorescents are coming in. Like, well, why can't I use my 100-watt light bulbs?"
Right,
How
but
much
for
power is 100
example,
watts?
do you know if you drive your car, say until the gas tank is empty, how much energy, how many days of computer that energy is? Right? You don't know that. Right? People don't calculate that sort of thing. So to illustrate this and make you be more energy saving conscious, someone made this incredible video where they took, I don't know, he's an Olympic track cyclist or something, but his leg is bigger around than my head and your head. Yes, even Scott Johnson's head.
Scott, our 4 legs combined would have a closely run affair fighting him in an anime.
Our 4 bodies combined would have a closely run affair fighting one of his legs. Just one of the legs. So it's a ginormous dude, and he bikes on a stationary bike to power a toaster to toast a piece of toast. And then they tell you basically, you can see how, much energy it takes to toast a piece of toast. And then they tell you, relatively speaking, how many of this guy it takes to power various other things based on how well he powered the toaster. And now you are more energy conscious. Congratulations.
I got
also,
tired.
you saw this dude with giant legs.
I got tired watching this.
I
I
got-
felt short of breath. And then when they show his heart rate is at the average non-athletic human's maximum.
Yep.
Maybe even above their maximum.
And I guess I could have been like him if I would have spent my whole life on that. And I had better genes for that sort of thing.
Maybe.
It didn't, being big and badass doesn't
You
really
only
run in
really
my
started
family.
biking for serious recently.
I biked when I was young.
Yeah, but not properly. Now you know.
I was not my being muscular does not run in my family.
So, in the meta moment, the book club book is The Wheel of Time.
It goes around and around.
The first one.
First book is called The Eye of the World.
I bought it in a digital form, and
It's a good way. It takes up less space that way.
I'm going to start reading it on my trip to London next week.
I have read quite a bit of it, but I am nowhere near even 25% done.
I don't want to lie. Hopefully when I start reading it, I'm trying not to be down on it, but
It is
I
a
just-
fantasy novel.
I just don't want to read it now because I would rather read one of those old Forgotten Realms books.
This is probably better than those.
Well, we'll see.
We will
Because
see. That's the
most
point.
of those Forgotten Realms books are pretty bad. Especially the Drizzt shit or the Cleric Quintet, which is one of the...
Is that 5 clerics who go around together?
No, it is 5 books about one cleric named Catterley.
Oh, it's not 5 different clerics?
And
Then it's not a quintet, is it?
and it's about this kind of bullshitty minor god, and it's really
It's not even about Palor or anything?
Palor.
Oh, that's the
Palor.
It's the
bringing your non-canon
It's
generic
canon.
D&D.
It's in 3rd edition D&D Player's Handbook.
Yeah, that's some Greyhawk nonsense.
I was always the cleric of Palor, the most good and generic god you could pick.
Yeah, no. I always play. I always worshipped I don't know
The spider, whatever that they had at PAX.
what.
Is
No.
that a god?
Yeah, don't worship her.
Can you be a cleric of her?
Yeah, if you're a drow. I don't know if she'd accept a non-drow. Worshipping her if you're not a drow. I don't know what she'd do when
I
you...
don't know any other Forgotten Realms things that weren't statues at PAX
No,
or books that Rim read.
You gotta worship
Like Elminster and Drizzt, and that's it.
like
That's all I know.
Joaquin or something, or Ogma.
Who the hell are they?
Mistra, goddess of magic.
I've heard that name before, Mistra.
Yeah, or Mistril, the
Never heard of
precursor godhead or whatever.
Never heard of that one.
I guess the last character I played in D&D who worshipped a deity, worshipped the elven god, one of the elven gods, Idrifenia, the elven goddess of I think freedom.
Rim knows Forgotten too much.
I
Just
know
keep
a lot about
embarrassing
Forgotten
yourself with how
Realms.
much Forgotten Realms you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're forgotten. You know why they're the Forgotten Realms? Because everyone else forgot but Rim. That's why they're forgotten.
there's something more
The
forgotten.
fact that you remember Forgotten Realms
Spelljammer.
is a shame upon you.
You tested me. I remembered a surprising number of names from the Elaine Cunningham Elfie books. Way more than I should have.
Way more than I remembered from a book I just read with the rabbits in it. About some water ship or something.
What was the name of the bird? Wow, really? Kihar.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Remember it now?
Yes.
What's the name of the bird?
Kihar.
Okay. I'm not enthused about this book. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to not let that color my perception of the book. However,
Anyway,
maybe I'll just buy the Heron Sword and then I'll feel better about reading the book.
Heron Sword's pretty awesome so far.
Yeah,
I mean, I like swords.
When I was a kid,
Welcome to Canaria.
I almost read The Wheel of Time like 10 times because when I was in high school, you could get from museum replicas the Heron Sword, and it just looked amazing.
Still not as good as the Heron Spear, which, by the way, spoilers, is probably a laser cannon or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Anyway.
Come to ConnectiCon. It's in a month in Hartford, Connecticut. The panel schedule is basically done, and I'm not going to lie, it is the best goddamn panel schedule we've ever had. There is some good stuff in there.
ConnectiCon is an everything geek con. If there is some geeky thing you're into, it's there. Maybe you're the kind of nerd who just wants to play Magic the Gathering. You can do that at ConnectiCon, but you should also do something else. Don't be that guy.
We've got some crazy big guests. We've got such panels as, let's see, Kokeshi-style clothespin dolls, a workshop.
Ooh.
How to get good at Super Smash Brothers.
I need that one. I'm going to that.
Cosplaying while black.
Nice.
Introduction to comic and Adobe Photoshop art. Henna, glitter, and temporary body art. Sex, Death, and Populism, the life and times of Andrew Jackson.
Is that 18 plus?
Yes.
Okay.
The 18 plus. I defy any convention in America that nerds go to have an 18 plus panel about Andrew Jackson.
Probably the first. Probably a world first, world history first panel at Geek Convention about Andrew Jackson. Never happened before ever.
I'm actually pretty excited about that panel. A bunch of chiptune stuff. Monster Girl Quest, the lecture.
I don't know what that is.
Bunch of Faku stuff. There is good stuff. That's just that's like 2 panel rooms on Friday, maybe. We have like 200 and something panels.
All right. And that's just panels. ConnectiCon's way big. It has non-panels.
Yeah.
It has the main events. It has gaming. It has...
We have screenings, but it's not just anime
cosplays.
screenings.
It has merch. It has arts. It has Super Art Fight, hopefully, again.
Yep. Super Art Fight's in there. I saw him hanging out.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah. So come to ConnectiCon if you can drive to it. Or take some other mass transit like a bus.
If you're close enough, go. If you're kind of far, maybe not worth it because it's not the biggest, craziest con. But maybe it is. I don't know.
So when I was a kid, I just had luggage. Like, that was just a thing my parents bought for me, and I didn't think about it.
I think I had a suitcase, the kind with a handle that you zippered open the side. It's basically a large, briefcase, classical kind of thing.
Travel on my own as a kid, really. So when I traveled,
I didn't travel
my
much
mom
on
would
my
come into the room and be like, here's your suitcase, fill it.
Yeah, and whenever I went places on my own, it was either going to be summer camp or some kind of trip, and I would just duffel bag, just a really big, a duffel bag that was large enough for the length of the trip, and stuff it.
So when I got older and I needed luggage of my own, I bought the cheapest possible garbage. I bought the cheapest bag money could buy.
I kept using the duffel bag for a very, very long time. I had, the extra large Giganto duffel bag, which I still have, and the medium duffel bag, which got lost somewhere. And I just kept using those. They had shoulder straps, but, I just used those for a long-ass time. It wasn't until, maybe a few years ago that I started to be like, oh, these are actually kind of inconvenient for going to conventions all the time.
So, again, that's it. So, as I was a kid, I remember that adults would talk about luggage a lot. Mm-hmm. And they'd complain about and compare luggage. And then I learned that luggage is actually...
There are whole stores that just sell luggage only. And there's expensive luggage. And it's like, why is this happening? Why?
And luggage is...
What's wrong with just get one duffel bag. You're good.
Yeah, and luggage is really expensive. Like a pretty good roller bag can go for like $400 or $500.
And you're seeing people traveling with huge amounts of shit. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my God, the people I see at the airport. We're not talking about packing though. We're not talking about travel. We're just talking about the luggage itself.
Right.
So... I didn't care, and I used garbage luggage. I bought, in 2008 even, that recently, I bought literally just a roller bag at one of those places that sells luggage, in the bad parts of town in New York.
I mean, for the longest time, I was pretty much just
$40.
I'm not going to use a roller bag because only sissies use roller bags.
Oh, you've come around on that, haven't you?
Well, I mean, I use it when it's,
Scott gave me shit for 5 years about, Rim, why do you have a roller bag? That's for babies. My duffel bag's just fine. Only sissies use roller bags.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
My arm is mad weak.
So
I was taking more stuff to conventions, and my arm was starting to struggle, but where before it did not.
that's what did it.
Because
And
my arm is mad weak.
we also got away with it for a long time having crappy luggage because if you only ever drive places and you own a car and you don't...
That's also a major factor.
It's pretty easy to have terrible luggage because you just kind of throw all the stuff that doesn't fit in your trunk. And I remember...
Right. I used to take my duffel bag that was really heavy, just carry it downstairs, put it in a car, drive it, then carry it into a hotel, and that was it. So
like when I brought board games,
it didn't
I just throw
matter.
them in the trunk. And then I remember we'd get to a con and then we'd make 4 trips from the car to the hotel room.
Right, but now it's like, oh, I have to go to Australia and I have to get this to the airport on public transportation, and I don't want to pay for a taxi. This is not going to be good. I
Yup.
need something that carries more easily, but also when you just have a big duffel bag, it's hard to organize your stuff in it. Everything just sort of mushes around. You can't keep clothes folded nicely. You can't separate, your shoes from your clothes.
Yup.
You can't, if you need to bring an extra shoe with you.
And then woe betide, you have a multi-hop journey
Right.
where you stay in a hotel for a week and then go somewhere else.
And if you put any sort of specialized equipment in there, now you take a lot of electronics with you when you travel. Camera stuff, chargers, and you just, you don't want to just toss that stuff in all willy-nilly. Having a specific camera bag or a compartment to put chargers in or a way to separate toiletries from other things in case they explode, even though you do put them in a plastic bag, right?
So I decided at least to spend whatever money it would take to have the best possible luggage that would just make my life easier forever.
Mhm. Also, you got to remember there's those, I don't have them, but the luggage that can take a beating, right? If the Samsonite stuff that's hard shell, so in case when it's rolling around in that airport carousel.
However, hard shell luggage, a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm also not into it because the one advantage of not having the hard shell is you can cram more stuff in.
I don't cram anymore though. I bring so little when I travel.
I'm constantly bringing less and less everywhere I go.
But
having luggage that's at least a little flexible is kind of good.
so Emily and I, many, many years ago, on 2 PAX, we just thought we'd be clever because I was gonna go to work or whatever. We had this, we were gonna meet at the airport.
This was last year.
No, this was not last year.
Pretty
So
sure it was last year you had trouble.
no, it wasn't last year we had trouble.
Anyway.
I've been using that silver bag for a while.
Okay.
So we put all our stuff in one big bag to check, and then I just carried a backpack. So we combined our luggage. That was fine on the way 2 PAX. On the way home, we realized that the bag was now too heavy, and we would have to pay $80 extra to check it.
Because you bought stuff and put it in there.
So what we decided was, why don't we just buy a new bag? We need a new luggage anyway. We'll buy a new luggage here in Seattle. We go to a luggage store, we're poking around, and I look at this pretty nice luggage. And it says oh, sale, 40% off. I'm like, okay, great. And it's hard shell, and it looks really nice. It's the perfect size. And I just kind of say, fuck it, I'll just get this one. I carry it up to the front. And then as I'm carrying it up, I actually see the price tag. I expected a couple $100 maybe.
Yeah, hundreds.
It was $3,000.
What, was it made of gold?
No,
was
it was
platinum,
just
carbon fiber?
It was just this designer bullshit, apparently.
Oh, like a fancy designer name on it?
So then I
whatever.
start looking around, and yeah, even the ugly bad luggage is many hundreds of dollars.
Well, that's a separate issue entirely, right? Is that there's this industry of designer fashion bags that just greatly inflate the price of a bag because there's a trademark on the bag, because certain people in our society highly value that trademark, regardless of the actual quality or design of the bag
of
itself.
this bag, they're going to check into an airline and immediately have destroyed.
Right, so a normal person who buys bags and is looking for utility cannot buy any of those, even if they happen to actually be a good design at any point in time. So that's why I just buy Timbuktu and,
Yep, that's it.
That sort of brand.
In all my
right?
research, Timbuktu, they're not paying us or anything, just as good advice. Literally never buy luggage from anyone but them. Unless
I'm sure there's other good brands of luggage, right? But
I did a lot of research. I could not find good luggage that didn't cost easily 3 or 4 times as much, and that more expensive luggage was often not as well designed.
But Timbuktu and other similar companies, right? They are, out there making things that are designed to be practical, not jacking up the price based on trademarks or designs. And, I started off, they were only messenger bags at the beginning, right? And
we both have the same custom messenger bag.
I made a custom messenger bag from them, expecting it to last a long time. I've been using that since probably over a decade now. It's like a long, long ass time. Still have the same bag, still nothing wrong with it. I still use it every day. It has no problem. So, seeing that my primary bag that I used every day and had no problems with, and it was amazing, I'm like, well, I trusted you for this most important bag that I have. I will trust you for the second most important bag and third most important bag and so on.
Now,
and I have not been steered wrong.
I travel a lot for highly variable amounts of time. So I kind of broke down that basically what I needed was a messenger bag, which is usually my personal item because my laptop and DS and everything's in there.
Yeah, I mean, I use mine every single day, including traveling.
And then I needed either a backpack that I could check or carry on, or just a full-on luggage, like a big one, but not a giant one, not the one that you see like those stupid people at the airport. Like not the one that's like
the
easily,
ginormous one.
Yeah, like 3 feet wide or whatever.
The family size.
I'm talking like the biggest roller bag that is reasonable. And between those 3 bags, I'm like 100% set for any travel I will ever do in my life forever.
Yeah, I mean, I still have some older bags. Like I have
I got rid of my older bags because they're worthless.
Well, I mean, mine have like my initials on them, but I have like the giant duffel bag still, and I have my backpack from when I used a backpack.
Like remember that giant blue bag? I literally just threw it away.
Like in college, I used that backpack, right?
Yep.
But I only really use the 3 Timbuktu bags: the wheelie one, the not wheelie one for shorter trips, and my everyday messenger bag.
If I flew a lot more, I would consider getting one more smaller wheelie bag. Because then I could do the backpack, because I got that really good like aviator backpack.
Yeah, put that under the seat in front of you, put the small wheelie bag in the overhead bin, and then check the big wheelie bag.
Yep. Or actually, going to the airport, wear the backpack, carry the roller bag, and then if I have to, check one of them. It's just for the ease of transport to the airport. Because you can only have one wheelie, one backpack. If you have more,
if
it's
you
a pain
have 2
in the ass.
wheelies, you're in deep shit.
Yep. But I can attach my messenger bag to the backpack because the backpack's just really cleverly designed.
Yeah, I mean, I actually also have a Timbuktu camera bag that is just like, it's sort of like a messenger bag, but it's only meant to hold a camera and has compartments to put lenses and things like that.
Well, I also have a Timbuktu bicycling backpack that can carry. It's basically, I could carry enough stuff to go on.
Let's not make a Timbuktu ad here.
No,
there are a lot of companies that sell all this shit too.
Yeah, but in my
fact,
research, I couldn't
Timbuktu
find.
probably isn't even the best at camera bags. I saw some I forget the name of the company, but like Dub something.
No, but this can't. This. You think like, what's so special about a biking backpack? So one, it rides way higher than a normal backpack. So when you're biking hunched over, it's like perfect. It's not like sagging back. It's not in like the bottom of your back. It's got like crazy vents on it, and it's just like shaped to fit my back when I'm hunched biking. So I could if I do that thing where if I consider my trip sneezy time from biking from Sydney to Melbourne, I will use that backpack to carry my shit with me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What else is there to say about luggage?
Don't buy giant luggage. It's literally worthless. If you think you need a giant luggage, like one of those giant ones, you're probably wrong and you're packing way too much
Even
shit.
if you have a big family, just make frickin' everyone carry their own shit, and everyone has normal size bags.
Also, airlines have really cracked down to like the maximum weight of bags. So I don't know
smaller. Everyone in your. I mean, if you have a ton of luggage that you need because you have a big family, every single person has their own wheelie bag and their own backpack, even little kiddies.
And if you're bringing more than that because you're moving somewhere for like 6 months, ship it.
That's also a good idea.
Like, don't try to bring it on the plane with you. Just
it can
ship
actually
it.
be cheaper than putting it on the plane, right?
That used to be the case.
Depending on how heavy it is.
It is basically not true anymore. I shipped some stuff instead of bring it with me on a business trip. The shipping costs more than just another plane ticket for a human.
It depends on the weight, right? So if something's really freaking heavy, then bring it on the plane is better. But if something is not that heavy,
well, no, if it's really heavy, you
volume,
can't check it. The airlines now have an upper limit of no, you can't check this. Sorry.
I'm not talking about that heavy, but
no, that level is lower than you think.
Well, figure your own shit out, people.
Yeah, but
and also a good answer for a lot of things is don't bring it with you. Buy something on the other side.
That is also true.
If you're traveling, like if you're flying to China and it's like. Yeah, a toothbrush doesn't weigh anything, right? But let's say you need boots because you're going to go hiking in some mountains, right? those boots are real freaking heavy. You might be better off just buying boots over there.
I would bring my boots. My boots are worn in. They're fitted to me perfectly.
I'm just saying.
And they're like $300 boots.
That's an example of a heavy thing you might bring, right?
Well, I tried to do that, and it didn't work out so well in Australia when I decided I'll just buy a tripod in Australia.
A bicycle. You can just go rent one on the other side.
I would not bring my bicycle on a plane ever.
You know, maybe you're a videographer and you need video cameras that are like huge. Just rent those on the other side. Don't bring them with you.
But I guess here's the advice. In my experience and Scott's experience as smart dudes, if you need luggage, buy the best backpack, the best messenger bag, and the best reasonably sized wheelie bag that exists. Just buy the absolute perfect thing.
And even if you don't have a lot of monies, because I know most people don't. I mean, I bought my first Timbuktu bag, and it was like a couple $100, and I did not have a lot of monies then. And
it's worth it.
I saved up and got it because then you never had to buy one again. Just suffer with shitty bags until you just use like grocery bags. Just suffer until you have enough money and get the good bag, and then that bag will last you forever.
Yeah.
If you buy a shitty bag for like $50 and then it falls apart, you buy another one for $50. By the time you get to your fourth bag, it's like, well, you could have just bought the fancy one to begin with.
Yep, I've thrown away easily 4 or 5 wheelie bags in my life that cost way more combined than the one like $180 amazing travel backpack that I have now.
Yep. So it's a thing that if you travel a lot, it's worth investing in.
The other thing is if you get good bags, they're measured to actually fit in like carry-on different airlines.
Yeah, the
things.
websites, all the companies will tell you like this is carry-on legal, at least right now until the rules change. You never know when that's going to happen.
What can mess you up though is that international flights often have different rules and
Also
different
true.
classes have different rules. Like business class, you can bring whatever you want pretty much.
Yeah, you're paying 10 times as much. You bring 10 times as much stuff.
Yep. Oh, the other important thing. I recently despite this advice, I wasn't taking my own advice. For most of my life, I had the shittiest garment bag in the world.
Garment
I
bags.
just bought a swag garment bag.
Garment bags are important if you have to bring fancy clothes.
It was like $40, which seems like a lot.
Because you just take like a fancy suit and cram it in your luggage. Even if you fold it nicely, it's not going to come out well on the other end. You'll have to go to the dry cleaner.
Yeah. No, Scott, I'll show you this garment bag.
If you need
after
to get
show.
off the plane and go to a business meet, you need your suit to be ready to go. You don't want to wear it on the plane and get it all stinky, especially if the flight's long. The garment bag is actually
Same thing, like
necessary thing.
Going to a wedding, bringing the nice suit for like the nerd prom or whatever at the convention.
Yep.
Garment bag. Don't.
You got your cosplay. Maybe it goes in a garment bag because your tuxedo mask.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I just bought a for real garment bag. I'm a moron for having used my crappy garment bag for like the last decade. Like I really feel dumb for not having done this sooner.
The one most important feature of the garment bag is when the bottom of it can connect to the top to fold in half. That is the most important feature.
Wait till you see this garment bag I got.
How fancy could it possibly
I'll show
be?
it to you as soon as we stop recording. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.